Hi, everybody. This meeting is being recorded, and this is Lisa with Evanston Made to do an info session for our final Makers Market of the season, which is happening October 2nd from noon to 5 p.m., level 5 of the Maple Avenue parking garage. And I'm starting off with that little intro because every single human will be like, there wasn't a helicopter that delivered me to level 5. I didn't know it was level 5. You didn't put it on the thing. Please really encourage all of your promotions to talk about two things: ticket sales and level 5. We keep ticket sales open until the end of the event, and people do buy tickets at like $4.49 and come running in. So what I'm going to do with this info session, which will be recorded, which is recording now, I will go through all the FAQs, put stuff in the chat. Liz will respond. And Jenny with Handmade Happy Hours might also have some of her sign up people might be in here and they might have different questions. You can always reach out to Jenny and circle back with us. But what I'm going to go down is just through that FAQ list and sort of try to answer questions that we've been asked in the past, and try to just address as many as possible. So we did send you a tax form. This tax form does not apply to everybody. So obviously people who are youth makers, 16-year-olds do not have to apply to this. If you sell nothing, which is probably not going to happen, you don't have to turn this in. This is just a record keeping mechanism. If there is somebody out there who's got an LLC and they're doing all these markets and they're not paying taxes, the Illinois tax department wants to know about this. So we have to fill one out with everybody's name, but we don't fill one out in terms of people's volume of sales. It's just to identify the humans who are selling. If you have questions, you have to ask at the bottom of that form. There's a 1-800 number. You ask them. We are not tax experts, nor are we allowed to give you tax advice because that's illegal. Parking passes get to you day of market. So typically Evanston Made will register everybody's name. We send in to get parking passes so that you don't have to pay the fee, which is typically it's $12 to park for the day. And around 4 or 4:30, a volunteer will go through and hand everybody out your parking pass. You get one per vendor. If we have extras because there were no shows and somebody happened to come with you and there's an extra car, we can provide an extra, but typically there's like 3 extra left. You do not have to, this is an important scam alert. There's a lot of times with these fairs that somebody might send you an email that's like, hey, this is Barbara with Evanston Made, and you actually have to pay this extra fee. There is no, other than your fee to sell with us, you do not have to pay anybody any money. You do not have to give us a portion of your proceeds. You do not have to give us a Be Friendly tax. There is no money exchanged past you signing up to sell, which many of you did months ago. So if anybody comes up to you and says, you need to give me X amount of dollars, they're a scam artist and you say no. And definitely tell us. That hasn't happened at all, but we've heard of other art fairs where that's happened, and we just want to make sure that, you know, you've got your P's and Q's about you. Entering to shop. So it's a $5 suggested donation because Evanston Made is a nonprofit. We do not turn anybody away. If someone's like, I didn't bring cash, or I only have a $100 bill, we typically say, please go spend it with a vendor. We are doing this tickets in advance promo because we're giving away a free swag bag. But if people ask you like, hey, I really don't want to pay to shop, encourage them to come. It is not the end of the world. There is an online platform where you can buy tickets, but we do not turn anybody away. And everybody 18 and under shops free, and some people who are 47 look like they're 18, so they also shop free. Good for them. There's URLs in the FAQs. The Makers Market, where all the participating artists are supposed to be listed. If you are not listed, email us. We'll get you in there because you've all sent us a promo picture. There's also on that same page is all the information for buying tickets, how to park, where it is. You can share that with people. You do not need a car to participate in this market at all. If you just have a table and you're taking an Uber, you're more than welcome to have the Uber deliver you to the level 5, I think if you're in the parking garage for less than 30 minutes, it's free. So your Uber driver doesn't get charged. Or if you ride your bicycle and you have a setup, you are welcome to take up the elevator and set up wherever you want. Cars are not required. The only thing that is required is a table and chairs, because you can't possibly stand there all day on cement floors and sell your stuff off your body. You do need a platform to put your merchandise on and a chair to sit down, because it's a super long day. We do not have chairs and tables for you. So we say that setup starts at 9 a.m. We don't really want you getting there before 9 a.m. because it's a super long day and it'll probably take you not that long to set up. You are welcome to show up at 8 a.m. and go to level 5 and park, but chances are roll up at 9, get yourself set up, and then maybe around 11 o'clock, take a break, go to the bathroom, go get coffee, go to the farmer's market, get breakfast. We will watch your table for you. Just don't feel like you have to arrive at 6 o'clock in the morning. A lot of people literally arrive at 11 o'clock and set up in 15 minutes and they're ready to go. We just ask that you're ready to sell like around 11:30, but if you're not ready to sell until noon, fine. This is a very low pressure market. Nobody is walking around with like a clipboard telling you what the rules are. Everybody's very friendly and laid back, and some people stumble upon the event and they walk into the garage at 10 o'clock and they're like, when can we shop? And we just say, come back at noon. So the 9 a.m. is to like not make you hyperventilate and get you there at 6 o'clock in the morning. The layout to the parking garage, and I apologize if this comment is landing on the ears of anyone who's related to the architect who designed this parking garage, but it is the worst designed parking garage in the history of parking garages, mainly because of the signage. If you ignore all the signage and just follow the only way that you're allowed to go and keep going right, you eventually will loop up to the 5th level. We are on the east side of the 5th level. You will see us up there. But if you start following signs, you're going to probably go the wrong way. You're going to panic. You're going to try to go through parked cars. People have shown up like shaking and crying. And I always tell them, just go right. Do not panic. Stay very, very calm. We are only on the 5th floor. We're not a little bit on the 6th and kind of on the 3rd. We're literally only on the 5th floor. So do not set up accidentally on the 3rd floor. We don't pre-assign or design maps because we really want to force shoppers to engage with all of the merchants. And we feel like if we make a map and someone's only coming to see Barbara, who sells cat paintings, they're going to march on over to Barbara in slot 43 and not see anybody else. So we welcome people wandering the entire thing. We want everybody to be mixed together. We try not to put like-minded merchandise next to each other. But there are no maps and assignments. As you flow in, volunteers, just like at the airport, are like, go this way, go this way. And then you nose to nose as close as you can to other people's spots. We have discussed maybe this sale putting kids down the middle because the lanes are really, really wide. And oftentimes they just have tables. But it's a first come, first serve basis. And we just ask that you file in accordingly. Get your space, which is 2 parking spaces, and you can park your car at any orientation and start setting up. The orientation of your car just really doesn't matter because some people use their car to sell, so they put their car perpendicular. Some people don't use their car for anything, so they dump all their stuff in 2 parking spaces and they go park their car away. It's totally up to you how you want to use your space, but you've got 2 parking spaces to make merchandise magic happen. That's a new line. And you'll see it's, again, totally laid back. It's whatever design you want. You just can't have like 9 spaces, especially not this market, because again, we have oversold, we've overbooked this flight, and we're 115 vendors, so we're going to squish together. Porta potties. So going to the bathroom is tricky. There are porta potties that the city cleans at the base, so at the farmer's market and at the entrance to the parking garage. There's a kept up clean parking or porta potty. But if you're like, I'm not doing that, there's a Hilton Garden Inn down the street, there's a Starbucks, there's a Blix across the street. You call me, text me, flag down a volunteer, and we'll manage your booth while you're going to the bathroom. Also, your next door neighbors are used to, your booth mates are also used to that question. So everybody will watch your stuff as you go if you need to. We open the doors at noon. Like I said previously, a lot of people wander in and try to start shopping earlier. If you're set up, great. If not, tell them to come back at noon. And we stop at 5 because literally people still at like 4:43 run in and try to buy 10 things. We ask that nobody leaves before 5 because you might run somebody over, you might bust up somebody's table. Don't really start breaking down until 4:43. And then you can pull out and go home at 5 o'clock sharp. But typically we really don't like vehicles to leave the premises until 5. There are not any electric chargers, so you have to bring the extra charger. We don't loan them out because we only have one that we use. So bring some type of charger. You can't leave your car running to charge your phone because then you just might, asphyxiate everybody, and that would be terrible. You can't, there's really literally no plugs, and there's very little overhead lights. It's perfectly well lit, but there's no electric. So don't plan on bringing some type of fan to blow your merchandise to make it look like it's moving. That doesn't happen unless you have a personal charger. And that also means, the payment methods that you can accept are all payment methods. But if you're only doing Apple Pay, Venmo, or PayPal, you really need a phone that is charged. So please make sure to bring an extra charger, and to the best of your ability, accept all the payments you can. Early in COVID, we weren't allowed to have cash because they didn't want, human touch. And so now there's, other than masks indoors, there are no COVID protocols. So you're welcome to have cash on hand for sales, but also Apple Pay, Venmo, Square, all of that. There are no food sales. I know there's some like prepackaged like chocolate, and there might be a prepackaged ice cream sandwich person, but I pack a very robust snack bag and lunch because there's really not any food on the premises. The farmers market closes at 1, and they do sell breakfast. So if you do set up early and you get a good breakfast in you, awesome. But bring snacks, bring water, because otherwise you're walking a couple blocks to Starbucks, and that's not very fun. We do ask that between now and Saturday until 4 o'clock, you keep promoting. People are crazy for reels on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, people love process. People love to see how you make and what you're making. Yes, they also love to see like the end result. But if you feel like, oh, I've already pinged all my followers like 10,000 times, ping them 11,000 times. Because A, we love seeing Instagram flooded with all of our makers. B, there's 115 of you. So the more you promote, the better we will draw traffic. And literally there is a steady traffic flow at this event all the way up until 4:43. And it will be very crowded, and we will, to the best of our abilities, get everybody nestled in to the space. My cell phone is on the bottom of the FAQs. You can text me and call me that day. We have people who manage the entrances, so typically I'm walking around, often in a like maxi dress and sneakers with an Evanston Made sticker, and I have long gray hair, you'll see me. But if if you need anything, definitely try to flag down a volunteer so that we can help you out that day. Liz, now that I'm done, that's a whole entire FAQ list. Is there anything else that I am forgetting before we stop recording? Because I've been talking for 13 minutes.
No, just to reiterate that they'll need to use their hotspot for Square or whatever payment process. And so make sure, again, with the chargers that you have a backup. And also remember that when you're coming into the market, so are all the quite slow drivers coming to the farmers market. So be patient. They'll all park on the second and third floor, and then you can proceed on up. But it's a little hairy getting in at the beginning because right around the 8:30, 9 o'clock time frame is when it's really crowded at the farmers market. So just a heads up.
Yeah, and Debbie Solomon in the chat did say, like, wait a minute, 115 vendors. The market in August had about 60 vendors, and we said to people, like, if you need 6 spaces, take them. If you need 4 spaces, take them. We left plenty of spaces between people. We didn't do the end of the aisle spaces. So I think the best barometer for how packed it could be is last October, which almost had 100 vendors. And it is like, you would be amazed at how much room there is in that parking lot, especially if we actually do the end of the aisle spaces and if we do middle of the parking lot spaces, which we haven't done. And the only really good thing about having a packed market is with 115 vendors, that pretty much guarantees that there's going to be a tremendous amount of shoppers there. But that does not guarantee that you will have sales. And something we always tell people, and I can't believe how oftentimes people forget or they leave them at home, have a flyer, have a business card, because if someone is browsing and their bags are full and they can't buy another thing, but they love your item, make sure that you have a takeaway for them so that they can contact you later, because art oftentimes is a long game sale. People sometimes don't, they blow their budget, but they might just want to reach out later. So have any type of business card, flyer, signage, so they know, like, oh, I went to Barbara's cat painting at that sale, so they can follow up with you after.
One thing I would say that a lot of people do, and you guys probably already know this, but if you're doing Venmo, or if you have an Instagram account that you want them to follow, do a QR code and have it printed out on your table so that people can scan it. And also, if you do special orders or commission orders, make sure that that's front and forward so that people know that. Somebody may come up and say, I need 12 of the same thing for a holiday gift, but you only have 2 of this thing that I like. Can you make me 12 before December? So that's another opportunity.
Yeah, or my uncle only wears triple XL and you only have medium left. You do want to be able to contact people who want your merch after that live sale. And people are willing to, I feel like people are very curious at these sales. People are really friendly. They want to meet the maker. So you might also run into the sort of situation where you're just having a lot of conversations and maybe you're not selling, but you want to make sure that those conversations lead somewhere. We take a ton of email addresses on our clipboard. Just capture as much info as you can, so that you can possibly have these people in a conversation at a later date when your product is blue and not pink. The last thing I will say is a lot of people will ask us, what is the average price point for these sales? What oftentimes, like, how much do people spend? And you just really absolutely never know what a shopper looks like. Some of these shoppers come past Schaumburg, Galena, upwards of like far north of Milwaukee. Like, we get shoppers who just come from everywhere, and you never know what they're going to buy and what they want. But what we do know is that we have a lot of Makers Market ticket purchasers who've been to all of them this entire season. So we do have faithful shoppers who are willing to come in and check out everybody's goods. So do your best to be engaging. Don't be on your phone looking down. Don't be like, non-communicative. Try to be as friendly and as outgoing as you can for like 5 hours, because I know sometimes it's hard. But also really try to make sure people walk away with something cute. There's a vendor who, she was a jewelry maker who had her business card, and then clipped on it was a cute little sticker, and it had nothing to do with her earrings, but it was like a cute little giveaway that, like, she went through a whole stack of them. It's just a good idea to put something in people's hand for a future sale. So that's it. If we think of anything else, we will let you know. If you think of anything else, ping us, like, send us an email. We will try to be as responsive as possible. Saturday does get a little crazy between 12 and 5 when it gets really busy, but we're all there to help when you set up. There's volunteers, there's people, and yeah, it's going to be the biggest sale of the season. It'll be big like last October, and people are ready to shop and they're ready to spend money directly with a maker. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for everybody, and I'm super grateful that you all signed up to sell. And thank you, Liz, for all of your awesome promotions.
No problem.
I feel like the internet is flooded with the Makers Market. So I will end the meeting. I will upload this to YouTube and then share this with everybody. And if any of your friends are like, oh no, I can't sell, tell them to come shop.
The other thing, before we end, one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to coerce somebody to come shop who does not live in Evanston, make sure you tell them that they can spend the entire day. This is not the only thing that we have going on this weekend. We have terrain biennial installations going in yards all over town. We have our regular first Saturday gallery openings, and we have 43 people doing 43 Evanston made artists doing studio tours over the weekend too. So if there's somebody that says, oh, I'll come shop with you later, or whatever, I don't want to make the trip to Evanston, it's worth their time to do it this weekend. So
and everyone who walks through the front door will get this map. Yeah, so that they'll get something in their hand that makes it worthwhile for them to hang out in Evanston for the day. Thank you for pointing that out, because it is quite possibly the biggest art weekend of the year. This weekend kicking off a whole big month of activities. So yeah, this promotion for this Makers Market is part of a massive promotion, a kickoff of what we're calling Big Ass Art Month, BAM, with 2 A's. Because yeah, like Liz said, there's a ton of stuff to do, and it's a great time for your friend, your cousin from Schaumburg, who doesn't really ever come buy your stuff. This is a good time for them to come shop your goods. Good point. Thank you, Liz.
No problem.
And yeah, that's it. No more questions. I'm gonna press end and end meeting for all. Yeah, end meeting for all. Bye, everybody. See you on Saturday at 9 a.m. Okay, bye.